When the police encountered Jeremiah Stone outside a small Detroit shop, they saw only what they wanted: a homeless black man, a problem to be swept off the streets. They didn't question why his military record vanished from every database, or why a man sleeping in an alley could recite classified mission protocols with chilling precision. But when public defender Lauren Brooks started digging, she uncovered a long-buried secret. Before Jeremiah became an invisible shadow on the streets, he was an elite soldier, deliberately erased by a system for daring to speak the truth. Now, facing fabricated charges in a courtroom where justice rarely smiles on the forgotten, no one anticipated the moment the entire room would rise for the man society was taught to ignore. Today, where are you watching this story from? If you're gripped by journeys of triumph over adversity, hit like and subscribe, because the next episode is a shock you won't want to miss. The morning sunlight spills delicate, thread-like rays through Detroit's time-worn buildings. It glints off cracked pavement and walls plastered with faded graffiti. Jeremiah Stone moves silently through the alleys. Each brick beneath his feet feels like an old acquaintance. His gait holds no hurry, only the steady rhythm of a man used to having nowhere to go, no one waiting. He wears a thick, faded coat. Its sleeves are frayed, its hem streaked with dirt. The backpack slung over his shoulder, once army green, is now so washed out it's barely recognizable. Jeremiah needs no map. He knows every street corner, every abandoned shop, every locked metal door. Detroit has changed, but the darkness within him remains, always there, quiet, heavy, clinging like the cold seeping through his coat. Along his path, he pauses by a trash can near an old laundromat. Beside it, a stray dog sits. Its matted gray fur clumps from dirt and weather. It watches him, eyes not fearful but expectant, as if they've struck some silent agreement long ago. Jeremiah pulls out a stale piece of bread, breaks it in half, sets it on the ground. "Here, Sergeant," he murmurs. His lips tremble faintly in the morning chill. The dog approaches, sniffs, then gently takes the bread. It eats slowly, as if honoring the gift. Jeremiah watches. His gaze softens, the creases at his mouth easing into a faint smile. In that moment, old memories flood back, of a time when he called someone comrade, when every small act carried the weight of survival. When the dog finishes and looks up, it steps closer, nudging its nose against his hand. A wordless thank you. Jeremiah kneels, gently stroking its head. "See you tomorrow," he whispers, as if making a promise to a true friend. It's his only connection today. A nameless creature like him, living on society's fringes, unnoticed, unawaited. He adjusts the backpack's straps. The worn bag holds a few clothes, a can of beans, a tattered notebook, and a rusted lighter, all his possessions, weighing no more than a few pounds. Yet it's heavier than the rucksacks of his soldier days. It carries not just objects, but memories, exhaustion, and years of accumulated solitude. Jeremiah walks on, keeping to the road's edge. Cars pass by. No one glances his way. To the world, he's just another homeless man, a piece of the city's familiar decay. Maybe they think he was once someone, or maybe no one cares. But that indifference brings him relief. Invisibility is a skill he honed in the military, moving through shadows, blending into trees, dissolving into dust. Now, invisibility means no questions. No one asks why he jolts awake at night, hands grasping for a gun long confiscated. No one knows he wakes at 3 a.m., soaked in sweat, breath ragged, as if bullets still whistle overhead. No one sees him sit alone in a park, eyes vacant, as if watching a convoy that doesn't exist. At a street corner, he stops, leaning against the wall of a shuttered pharmacy. The morning breeze carries the acrid scent of bus exhaust, damp trash, and a faint whiff of donuts from a vendor's cart nearby. Jeremiah breathes deeply. The mingled smells don't bother him. They make him feel alive, still capable of sensing the world. To him, that's a small victory. A group of students passes by. Their laughter and music from earbuds fill the air. No one looks at him. Jeremiah doesn't blame them. He was once like that, young, full of illusions, unaware life could crush courage so brutally. He stands, keeps walking. Each step drags a piece of his past, but he walks on, because walking is all he can do to keep from sinking. The sun climbs higher, casting longer rays across his salt and pepper hair. In that light, Jeremiah isn't a drifter. He's a survivor, a quiet testament to what war never taught, how to heal, how to keep existing in a world that's forgotten him. In the sweltering midday heat, sunlight bounces off the pavement. The air itself seems to shimmer. Jeremiah slowly counts the aluminum cans in his bag, the morning's haul from parking lots and behind small markets, enough to trade for a bottle of water and an energy bar, a lunch he'd call luxurious. Sweat trickles down his temple. He tightens his backpack straps and heads toward Carter's convenience store, not for good service, but for the alley behind that leads to St. Peter's Church. The church never pries, never chases him from the small corner by the dumpster out back. It's where he sleeps each night, curled up in cardboard and scraps of cloth, under the silent protection of God, or at least the last traces of human compassion. Jeremiah asks for little. A quiet corner, clean water, a glance without contempt. That's more than he's dared hope for. Inside Carter's, the air is thick with irritation radiating from a young man behind the counter. Ethan Walsh, maybe in his 20s, hair disheveled as if raked through 100 times in an hour, face sour with the marks of someone breaking inside. Ethan yells into his phone, voice exploding in the cramped space. "I don't care what they say. I said I'll have the money by Friday." His grip on the phone, red-rimmed eyes, and trembling tone betray a man past his limit. Jeremiah steps to the counter, pulling out coins wrapped in an old cloth, $1.37. He sets them down, lifting his head to say softly, like a passing breeze, "Bottle of water." His voice doesn't boom or waver. It's the calm of a man who's faced far worse. But to Ethan, it's a spark. His eyes flick over the coins, then up to Jeremiah's sun-darkened, dust-streaked face, etched with wrinkles, a look that channels all his life's anger into someone who can't fight back. "What's this? Think this is a charity?" Ethan sneers, shoving the coins back. Pennies scatter like they're banished from an unwelcome place. "Price went up. Get out." His harsh words land like hammer blows in the air, but Jeremiah doesn't flinch. He calmly gathers the coins, saying evenly, "It's enough. Same as yesterday." A simple statement. No defiance, no challenge, just a reminder of what was. But Ethan doesn't want reason. He stands taller, chin jutting out, voice rising to crush any resistance. "Today's different. Leave before you scare off my customers." His anger doesn't stem from Jeremiah. It festers from something deeper. Unpaid bills, a life gone wrong, the fear of abandonment by those who swore to stay. Today, that frustration finds an easy target. Jeremiah reaches for his coins, but before his hand closes, Ethan grabs his wrist. A furious, rough, senseless act. Wasting my time, huh? He hisses, then shoves hard. Jeremiah stumbles, his back hitting a chip display. Bags tumble, rolling across the floor. The air freezes for a moment. From Ethan's mouth, a slur erupts, vicious, blatantly racist, toxic, like gas in a sealed room. It's not just an insult, it's a knife into Jeremiah's past, his pride, the memories he's tried to bury. But what makes you hold your breath is his response. Jeremiah doesn't shout, doesn't shove back, doesn't pull out a phone to record. He stands, brushing dust from his shoulder, his eyes sharpen like daggers. Gone is the harmless old man. This is the gaze of a soldier, someone who's held firm in dark trenches amid shell fire, who knows the cost of survival and claimed it with iron will. Ethan steps back, sensing he's facing someone not easily humiliated. But, as if to shield his crumbling ego, he snatches his phone, dialing frantically. "This guy attacked me!" he shouts, backing away. "He threatened to burn the store!" His words are a dirty blade, stabbing back at the old man standing calmly in a storm of lies. The wail of police sirens hasn't yet sounded, but the air grows colder. Jeremiah doesn't move. He stands amid scattered snack bags, like a scar on the city's indifferent surface. Silent, ignored, but still there, never gone. 10 minutes later, police sirens pierce the sweltering summer noon. They shatter the thick stillness of the neighborhood. A patrol car screeches to a halt outside Carter's convenience store. Dust clouds erupt. Sergeant Daniel Harper steps out first. His tall frame looms, eyes sharp as steel. Behind him, two younger officers, Ryan Cole, lean but taut, and Nathan Pierce, face cold as a frozen lake. Jeremiah sits calmly on a bench out front, hands on his knees, eerily composed. He doesn't run, doesn't hide, doesn't resist. More than anyone, he knows. Any move, however small, will be twisted into a threat. And a black man with silver hair, carrying a military past, can't be innocent to those unwilling to look deeper. Harper strides forward, voice barking like a battlefield command. "Hands up!" Without delay, Jeremiah raises both hands to head level, his tone steady, fearless. "Yes, sir." But that very calm, unpleading, unbegging, ignites a smoldering rage in Harper. It's not the reaction he expects. Harper doesn't want pity. He wants a reason. Without warning, Harper lunges. The attack is swift, sudden, like a cornered animal's kick. Jeremiah is slammed to the sidewalk. His gaunt head cracks against concrete. A sickening thud echoes, followed by a dark streak of blood trickling down his temple. "Don't resist!" Harper roars, though Jeremiah lies utterly still, body and will drained in an instant. A young woman across the street, witnessing it all, raises her phone to record. Her voice trembles but rings clear. "He didn't do anything." It's not a defense, it's a cry for justice. But before a second is saved, Ryan Cole charges over, snatching the phone from her hand. No apology, no hesitation. The screen shatters under his boot. Fragments scatter like crushed evidence. "Investigation material," Cole says coldly, as if that erases what just happened. Another man, parked nearby, quietly starts recording from his driver's seat. But Nathan Pierce spots him. He strides to the car, pounding the window. His voice clips each word. "Delete that video now, or you're under arrest for obstructing justice." The man pauses. His eyes meet Jeremiah's vacant gaze, pinned to the ground. Then he stops recording, lowering the phone. Amid the street's clamor, faint protests rise, but no one dares step out of safety. The truth is simple. Once labeled, even facts lose their weight. Jeremiah is cuffed, head bowed, blood still runs down his cheek, soaking his faded collar. His eyes are wide, but the light in them is gone. They drift to some distant, invisible point, as if he's detaching from reality. Perhaps he's back on a battlefield in a foxhole, recalling a fallen comrade or a survival oath forgotten after every peace treaty. Harper yanks him up, not gently. A shove sends Jeremiah's head crashing into the patrol car's door frame. Another sound, dull, pained. No one apologizes. No one bends to check if he's okay. They slam the car door shut, like closing a bothersome chapter in their daily log. The car pulls away, merging into bustling traffic. Inside, Jeremiah hunches, not from fear, but exhaustion. So tired that the words he mumbles don't form. They're echoes from a distant memory, a prayer, a name recalled, or just a reminder to survive one more day. No one hears, no one wants to. But if you sat beside him, silent, you might feel the slow pulse of a soul clinging to itself, in a world with no room left for men like him. At the police station, procedures unfold with chilling speed, as if rehearsed thousands of times on nameless, voiceless faces. Jeremiah is led down a narrow hallway. Its walls are peeling, lit by weary fluorescent lights. He's ordered to stand against a white backdrop. A camera clicks repeatedly. A photo captures cloudy eyes, a swollen, reddened face, and a gash still oozing blood at his temple. Then, fingerprints. His trembling, blood and sweat-streaked hands pressed onto cold paper, like a verdict already sealed. No one asks him anything. When the cell door shuts behind him, Jeremiah stays silent. He sits, back against the wall, eyes fixed on the floor, as if conversing with memories. Outside, in the adjacent interrogation room, Harper and Cole finalize the file. They rummage through Jeremiah's tattered backpack, the one that's followed him through every street corner, every rainy night, every breadless morning. Inside, just old clothes, a yellowed notebook, a small folded photo, but to them, it's not enough for a credible criminal profile. Harper pulls a switchblade from his pocket. Carefully, he wipes fingerprints from the blade with a tissue, then slips it into the backpack's main compartment, where it never was. Cole says nothing. He tucks an unlabeled vial of pills into Jeremiah's coat pocket, discarded earlier. "Found on the suspect," Harper declares loudly, his voice clear, like narrating a cheap detective flick. Cole scribbles notes, hand steady, face blank. In the room's corner, Nathan Pierce types rapidly at a computer. His report is clear, coherent, entirely fabricated. He writes that the suspect displayed aggressive resistance, threatened officers' lives, intentionally injured law enforcement. Those words, once stamped and signed, will become undeniable truth. And Jeremiah, who hasn't spoken since his arrest, will bear a litany of charges, as if it's his fate. Meanwhile, across Detroit, Lauren Brooks trudges down the district courthouse steps. The afternoon shadows fall. The day's last rays can't lift the defeat weighing on her shoulders. At 28, Lauren has the eyes of someone twice her age, the gaze of a public defender facing pre-written verdicts daily, defending the undefended in a system that no longer listens. She steps out of the grand hall, reaching for her phone to check her schedule, when David Marshall's voice calls from behind. A seasoned legal advisor, he speaks little but always timely. "New case," he says curtly, handing her a thin file. "No one wants it." Lauren exhales softly, takes it and flips it open. Her eyes scan quickly. Jeremiah Stone. Charges: assault, resisting arrest, possession of weapons and drugs. She frowns. "Harper made the arrest?" David nods. She skims the notes. "Fourth case this month. All homeless, identical charges." She pauses for a beat. A quiet anger spreads in her chest. Not from the workload, but the eerie repetition. Nameless people funneled into the system, forced into criminal molds, as if being poor and homeless is crime enough. "They say he hasn't said a word since they brought him in," David adds, voice lowering. "Probably psychological shock." Lauren doesn't reply, but she knows silence is a defense too, a final way to cling to dignity when all else is stripped away. The file is thin, yet feels heavier than any document she's held. It holds a life cornered to the wall, and perhaps a truth being erased in red ink. Lauren stares into the distance, amid the rush of traffic and blaring horns of the evening street. She lets out a long breath, then heads toward her office, where she knows a new fight begins, and this time, she won't stand on the sidelines. The cramped interrogation room at the county jail is cloaked in harsh silence. No spare words, no sympathetic glances, no cameras, no opposing counsel, just a scratched metal table, 2 rickety chairs, and 2 people from utterly different worlds. Lauren Brooks sits upright, professional, but her eyes betray exhaustion. Across from her is Jeremiah Stone, an older man with disheveled silver hair, a poorly bandaged wound on his forehead, dried blood crusted in a brown streak. He doesn't stir, sitting motionless like a forgotten stone. His gaze pierces the wall, as if unaware of her presence. Lauren sets the file on the table, opening it slowly. Her eyes stay on him. "Mr. Stone, I'm Lauren Brooks, your appointed attorney for this case." Her voice is just loud enough, clear but not forceful. She's used to client silence, people crushed by a system until they feel unworthy of being heard or believed. Jeremiah doesn't react. His face remains still. His gaunt hands rest on his thighs, as if every muscle has surrendered after days without hope. Lauren glances at the file, a familiar litany of charges: assaulting a store clerk, resisting arrest, illegal weapon possession, drug trafficking. She takes a deep breath, trying not to let rising doubt cloud her reason. "I need to hear from you," she says, voice lower. "They say you threatened the clerk, resisted arrest. They claim they found a knife and drugs in your backpack. Is there anything you want to explain?" Again, the room falls silent. But this time, Lauren senses something beyond empty quiet. And then, sudden as a crack in ice, Jeremiah slowly shifts his gaze to her. His eyes aren't cloudy or lifeless. They hold a startling clarity, as if he's just chosen to step out of some temporary void. "Sergeant Stone," he says softly, his voice low, dry, steady like an old warning siren. "First Recon, Special Operations Command. That's all I'll say." Then he falls silent again. Lauren looks up, startled, pausing her notes. It's not a typical response, not the boast of someone seeking attention. It's a declaration of identity, not for her, but for a justice that's forgotten him. "You served in the military?" she asks, no longer just a lawyer probing, but a person seeking a piece of the truth. But Jeremiah doesn't continue. The moment closes. His gaze returns to that invisible spot on the stained wall. The meeting ends without clear answers. But Lauren knows his silence holds more than any defense. Stepping out of the room, she bumps into Harper, leaning against the wall, arms crossed. His eyes gleam with unconcealed mockery. "Another rookie lawyer trying to save trash," he sneers, as if he said it 100 times. She doesn't respond, doesn't turn, but inside, something ignites. Not anger, but vigilance. In her car, Lauren opens her laptop. Her fingers type the phrase he mentioned, Special Operations Command. The screen shows fragmented results, partially declassified documents, brief notes from 2001 to 2010. No names, no photos, no personnel records. The unit conducted unofficial missions, the kind the U.S. government would never acknowledge. Those who served, if still alive, weren't allowed to speak of it. Lauren stares at the screen, unease rising. Jeremiah isn't just a homeless man caught in a minor charge. She senses he was part of something far larger, something Harper might know and wants buried. Why would an officer like Harper pin identical charges on multiple homeless people in 1 month? Why target Jeremiah so specifically? And why does he, a man with nothing left, choose silence over pleading for sympathy? Lauren shuts the laptop, leaning back in her seat. The sky outside is as gray as ever, but inside her, things begin to shift. This is no ordinary case, and Jeremiah Stone, that quiet, weathered man, may carry a truth someone wants erased from history forever. 3 days have passed since Lauren last saw Jeremiah. His shadow lingers, haunting her amid towering stacks of files on her desk. She's scoured platforms and databases for any trace of him. The results come back nearly blank. No criminal record, no social media footprint, only a minor case from his youth, long dismissed. It's like he never existed. Lauren sighs to herself. A new report arrives, and she spots the anomaly immediately. Jeremiah is described as approximately 40 years old, though his file lists him as 62. Worse, there's no body camera footage from the police for an arrest labeled dangerous and resistant, almost impossible under current regulations. Her suspicion hardens into something clear, tangible. Someone is deliberately obscuring the truth. Across the city, in the raucous O'Malley's bar, Harper, Cole, and Pierce huddle. Their beer mugs clink amid blaring music. Harper's voice booms with glee as he recounts the arrest, treating it like a trophy. "That old man thought he was special," he says, "until I slammed him down like a sack of garbage." Cole laughs heartily. Pierce adds coldly, "The best part? He didn't say a word. Makes it easier when they know fighting's pointless." Behind the counter, Marcus Tate, the bartender, listens silently. His eyes betray unease. Harper lowers his voice, serious. "We need to clean this up before the feds sniff around." Pierce nods. "Judge Coleman will sign anything. No worries." The next morning, Lauren visits Carter's, the scene where it all began. Ethan Walsh, the clerk, grows nervous at her sight. "I already gave my statement," he says, rehearsed. "That guy threatened me." But Lauren isn't fooled. "A witness said he just sat quietly on the bench. Did someone pressure you to lie?" Ethan shouts, ordering her out. But his panicked expression only deepens her doubts. At the jail, Jeremiah sits still. His eyes track the guards' movements. No one approaches him except Officer Caleb Hayes, who deliberately spills a food tray on him, smirking, "Failed your training, old soldier." Jeremiah doesn't react. His silence unnerves the guards. Michael Reed, another guard, steps forward, handing him a towel. He whispers, "Don't let them break you." Lauren recalls someone who might help. Kevin Morse, a former Army medic she once aided in a veteran's case. When he sees Jeremiah's photo and the tattoo on his wrist, two crossed arrows with a star, Kevin freezes. Damn, that's a mark of a special unit, the kind the government doesn't acknowledge. No records, no existence on paper. If those guys caused trouble, they'd be erased from every system. Lauren shudders. She begins to envision a different Jeremiah, a seasoned soldier, young, face painted for stealth, silently leading his team across enemy lines to save civilians despite orders to retreat. She files a request for his military records. The response comes within hours. No records exist. That night, a voicemail buzzes on her phone. Dig too deep, and you'll be buried with the truth. Lauren tracks down Marcus Tate, the bartender and covert contributor to the Detroit Free Press. Marcus hands her a file on 6 homeless veterans arrested in the past year, all by Harper with identical charges. 3 have vanished without a trace. Someone's cleaning house, Marcus whispers. She arranges a meeting with Judge Coleman, presiding over Jeremiah's case. But when she raises concerns about fabricated evidence, he cuts her off. Harper's a decorated officer. Without solid proof, I'd advise caution. On his desk, Lauren spots a photo of Coleman shaking hands with Police Chief William Hayes. Their closeness hints at more than a professional bond. That night, Marcus sends her a copy of a 2007 military article. It features a young Jeremiah standing behind a 4-star general during a covert overseas operation. She brings the photo to the jail. In the interrogation room, she places it before him. This is you, isn't it? Jeremiah glances at it. His eyes waver. When she softly calls his name, he finally speaks. I was a marksman, deployed in Iraq, 2003. Then they put me in black ops, extractions, intel, cleanups. In 2008, we were ordered to destroy evidence of a massacre by military contractors. I refused, sent the proof out. 3 days later, I was discharged. They called me a threat. My wife died in a strange accident. My daughter was taken. I lost everything. Lauren sits, stunned. She returns, determined, and sneaks into the police archives to check Harper's arrest records. Of his 36 recent cases, 23 involve homeless people, 8 were veterans. 5 mirror Jeremiah's charges exactly. She photographs every document. Next, she visits the Oak Ridge Veterans Home and meets Victor Torres, Jeremiah's former comrade. He was the most honorable man I served with, Victor says. His record wasn't just sealed, it was erased. Someone still sees him as a threat. That night, a stranger slips Lauren a thick envelope. Inside, a single word. Careful. At the jail, Reed, the quiet guard, overhears Harper and Cole joking about Lauren snooping through files. Reed secretly copies body camera footage Harper thought was gone. He hides the USB in a Bible in the chapel, praying for courage. The trial opens, taut as a wire. Lauren plays Reed's video, clearly showing Harper planting the knife in Jeremiah's backpack. The courtroom erupts. Reed, face bruised from an assault, takes the stand to testify. Jeremiah recounts his journey from elite soldier to hunted homeless man. His story silences the jury. Judge Coleman, once a JAG officer, stands, ordering the room to rise. He declares, "We acknowledge your service." Harper tries to slip out but is arrested by the FBI on the spot. All charges against Jeremiah are dropped. General Charles Bennett, retired, appears at the trial's end. testifying that Jeremiah's ordeal is a mockery of American justice. Jeremiah steps out of the courtroom to thunderous applause. Hannah rushes forward, enveloping him in a tight embrace amid the cheering crowd. In that moment, after years of separation, loss, and silence, father and daughter are finally reunited. Lauren stands nearby, tears welling in her eyes. Marcus watches quietly, his gaze fixed on them as if witnessing something holier than justice, the return of hope. But the journey isn't over. An email from an anonymous FBI address reaches Lauren, revealing the investigation is expanding, tracing high-ranking officials who buried the truth. Jeremiah's honor is restored. He's awarded his long-denied Medal of Valor. Yet he knows a medal can't reclaim the stolen years, and the shadows haven't fully retreated. A year later, Jeremiah stands in a small community hall, speaking to marginalized youth. "You are never invisible," he says. "Your story can change the world." Hannah watches him, beaming. Lauren and Marcus exchange smiles. But in their hearts, a question lingers. Who's still pulling strings in the dark? Have they stopped, or are they gearing up for a new hunt? If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, share your thoughts. Leave a comment. Spread these powerful stories to loved ones and friends across the U.S. You are the reason buried truths come to light. And you, like Jeremiah, are never invisible.